Welcome to the Elliott High Network. I am your host, Louis Coney. The Washington Teaching Union has launched a major initiative called Learning Doesn't Stop Lessons on TV. Let's check out ELA instructional coach, Miss Brandi Crump. Miss Crump will discuss English language arts. Lesson 2 will consist of Miss Kearney from Ron Brown College Prep High School and Miss Green from Anacostia High School. Let's see what we can learn today. Take it away, teachers.
Hey, so good to see you guys again. This is Brandi Crump, the 6th through 12th grade ELA instructional coach at Cardozo Education Campus. Last week, I did some basic annotation strategies with you guys on how to annotate a text and to really break down what these complex words are saying. And guess what we're doing today? Today, we are doing Shakespeare. But I don't want you to be like, Shakespeare, girl, bye. Again, this is our Don't Rush Challenge because we're not going to do the whole Don't Rush Challenge. But what I did was I already scaffolded a lot of the work for you. So I did my part. So all you have to do is your part. All you have to do is read the articles, and I promise you, if you watch this video, I broke it down for you. Shakespeare is nothing to be worried about, nothing to fear. Shakespeare is Kanye, Shakespeare is Jay-Z, J. Cole, Lil Wayne, Drake, all my favorite people. Shakespeare, Shakespeare. That's why I taught English. Shakespeare is nothing but words, it's word plays, it's puns. I love English, I love rap. That's why we're going to get through this together. If we can listen to Kanye West, that's my Lil Wayne. Oh, if we can listen to them, we can do Shakespeare. All right. So if you get lost and you have any questions, make sure you reach out to me. Do not hesitate because I am sitting at home just like you. Brandi Crump. Brandi.crump at k12.dc.gov. We are going to attack this together. You have 2 articles and probably the other favorite thing that you like to do, argue. So we're going to look at Shakespeare and we're going to look at 2 articles. And the 2 articles are going to give us pros and cons on whether or not we should be teaching this specific Shakespeare play in schools. Hey, so let's jump right into it. It's going to be a lot more fun than you think. We got
What profane wretch art thou? But men are men, the best sometimes forget. Oh, you guys, that was week 4 of at home learning. We are now on week 5 and we are up in the ante just a little bit. So we are going to do our very own Don't Rush Challenge because this text, there have to be 2 texts this week. They are complex, but we're not going to rush them because I made sure I scaffold it just for each and every one of you at home so that you can tackle this prompt in front of you. So bear with me. I have these before me, behind me, but I'm going to switch between the screens because I think that might be a little bit easier for you to follow along. But again, Don't Rush Challenge. We got plenty of time, at least for now. All right. Okay. So we have a culminating question. And whenever that there is a culminating question that we need to write a response for, an academic response, we always want to break it down because it's always a lot of words and a lot of questions put in one. So what we're going to do is we're going to annotate this prompt and then we're going to create our very own checklist. Okay, so at home, today is Friday. Monday, we're looking at this. So you should have already looked at Willard White and Dr. Ayanna Thompson's articles on the text Othello. So our prompt says, what is Willard White perspective? We know that perspective is basically his feelings. And do you see this in concert or in disagreement with Dr. Ayanna Thompson's position on Othello? Hey, Ms. Crump, I know what disagreement means. Of course, that means the opposite of what you feel like, but what does it mean in concert? So if we know that disagreement means the opposite, then concert must mean agreement. Okay, so basically, do these 2 intellects, Willard White and Dr. Ayanna Thompson, do they agree with each other or do they disagree in their articles? And then what makes you say this? Okay, now they're asking what makes you say this? And we are in 12th grade, maybe you're in 9th or 10th or 11th, but we're not in 5th. So what you're not going to do is say, I, me, or my. My favorite thing. I, me, or my. You're not going to say, I feel, I think. Guess what? We know you think it because you wrote it. So all you want to do is take an academic stance. So when it asks you, what makes you say this, you're going to put evidence from the text that's going to strengthen your argument. Think about being a lawyer in a courtroom. All you want to do is pack your punch, give the evidence, and you're done. So now you're going to write a well-organized response in which you explain your perspective, which we already addressed, evidence, and reference the text from this unit. So let's create a very quick checklist, because sometimes with these prompts, they're so convoluted or so difficult or so many different moving parts to it that you want to make sure that you answer all parts. So what's the first thing that you're going to do? Explain whose perspective? Willard White's. Boom. The next one you're going to do is explain Dr. Thompson's perspective. And when you looked at her interview, I highly suggest, if you have not looked at it yet, or if you still have yet to do it, it's an interview on NPR. I suggest that you listen to the interview while you're reading. It'll make a lot more sense. And then lastly, you're going to explain your perspective. But again, I'm going to keep coming back to this again. Neither article is going to say, these are my pros, these are my cons, because this is a complex, rigorous, academic level text. None of them are just going to list, yes, Othello should be taught. No, Othello should not be taught. At times, the articles might seem like they contradict themselves, but it's your responsibility as an intellectual yourself and as a complex thinker and reader that you have to delineate and decipher between the argument. Because with something as complex as should this play be taught, of course, there's always pros and cons, and you have to address both sides. So as you read this article, I want you to pay close attention. So this is when I said we're going to do our not rush challenge. So what I created for you, All That Glitters Is Not Gold from NPR's Code Switch. That is whose article? That is Dr. Ayanna Thompson's article. So what I did was I pulled some lines from the text that helps you decide, does she support this or does she not support it? Because like I said, again, I'll give you a little clue. They both give pros and cons, and that's where your perspective comes into play. You have to determine on your own, which argument do I think is stronger? So first quote, and so if you're really interested in racism, then you have to start a lot earlier than what people presume, like in the 16th century Shakespeare. Does that sound like we should be studying this play in school? A little bit, because she says that if we want to understand racism, we have to start a lot earlier than today. We can't start in the 21st century and Black Lives Matter. We can't start today. We got to start way back then. So she's saying, yes, teach it. This play was written for a white man in blackface, that is, of course, feeling like it's damaging your soul. Woo. You can't take this quote out of context without reading the whole thing, but it sounds like it's a difficult play. She's saying it's damaging to your soul, right? So possibly, no, it shouldn't be taught. And then look at this. So on the most basic level, do you think high school students should read this play? She flat out says no. So we would think that that's our answer. However, she comes back and says, I think it's incredibly important, because if you don't know how our current racialized epistemology started, it's hard to dismantle it. So again, similar to that first quote, although this comes later in that article, she's saying, if we as Americans, as people, ever want to dismantle racism, we have to start with where it started at the very beginning, the epistemology. We can't just pick it up today and see that things aren't happening well, right? All right, so there's two more I'll let you do on your own. And let's move to Willard White on playing Othello, because after this, you're going to have to structure your essay on what you think is going to be your perspective. So Willard White on playing Othello, I broke down, I considered walking away. So we know from reading, Willard White is an opera singer. He played Othello, and he said he wanted to walk away. What does that sound like to you? That sounds like he's like, no, I don't like this play. It should not be taught. But let's see what he says in his complex argument. The play is crushing to perform. I was taken into places I did not want to go. What do you think? Supports, does not support? Sounds like does not support. Is crushing, took him to places he didn't want to think about as an African-American man. And then Othello was a man of great stature. He falls in love, then destroys everything. And if you read a little bit of the play, he kills his wife, he kills his friend Iago, he does all this. And then Willard says, I don't get him. So of course you're like, why are we studying this guy? But what makes you a great reader? Studying round, complex characters. If all of our characters were simple, then reading would not catapult us anymore. So it says if he does not understand this character, then that means in school that's plenty for us to go ahead and analyze. We have a complex character. We want to learn more about him. We want to learn why he's difficult, why he does the things that he does. And of course, the issues in this play are racist, but for me, they're not the defining factor. Supports or doesn't support. So he again is addressing that the play is racist, but he says that it supports the fact that we still should be studying him. And then again, there's two more for you to go ahead and write about. It's truly horrible to watch. Yes or no? But this is why it's a great play to watch. We see ourselves on stage. We see ourselves as African Americans, as human beings, as whatever race and whatever gender we are. We are all human. We are all people, and we can learn from this. But ultimately, it's the human race that we see before us in this play. So there again, I scaffolded for you. Don't rush challenge. Don't rush challenge. That we have a little bit of both on both sides. We got the don't rush challenge, because I'm going to admit, and I don't have a lot of rhythm. Well, my little Shakespeare head is not really Shakespeare, but these articles are not simple. They're very complex. And I think that while you're at home doing this at home learning, this will really help your brain to really start to understand language and really start to think through things, because everything is not always so black and white. Everything is not so simply the pros and the cons. You have to read it and really decipher. So I hope that the two charts that I created for you, and again, those are just snippets from the whole entire article that you should have read, will help you to arrive at your very own perspective, right? If you need help with this, because this is not simple, I want you to please email me at brandi.crump@k12.dc.gov. And of course, for this video and others like it, I want you to log on to www.wtulocal6.net. You got it. This is good.
I'm Miss Kearney from Ron Brown College Prep High School.
And I'm Miss Green from Anacostia High School.
And we're bringing you WTU's Learning Doesn't Stop High School Math Series.
Today's lesson will be facilitated with a pencil, paper, and scientific calculator.
All right, we're just going to share our screen so that we can jump in.
So, for the past 2 weeks, we focused on concept development with different representations to model savings plans. We figured out the benefits of using equations and challenged you to a sneak peek of a car buying problem that required you to try out those skills as you continued to set goals.
After this week's lesson, you'll have everything you need to complete the capstone next week, where you'll finally take on the role of a banker to determine if you'll approve a home buyer for a loan and let us know what we've all been waiting for. Deal
or no deal?
Before we jump in, let's go ahead and center ourselves. Look at the visual. Silently take 5 seconds to reflect, and then for the next 30 seconds, respond by quickly sketching, jotting down, or verbally sharing with someone around you your reaction to the prompt below. How might the image relate to the energy or attitude we choose to bring to this experience today? Timer starts now. Excellent. I hope you're winding up your thoughts. Hopefully you walked away with something such as, even though we're doing distance learning, we're all in this together, and we made you a deal to bring you quarterly lessons every week. And that's what we're going to do. Ms. Green, what's the quality lesson for this week?
This week, we're going to evaluate a present value of annuity function to model car buying given a verbal description. We're going to have the key vocabulary of annuity in the present value, common ratio, finite geometric series, initial value through recurring payments, and interest. The essential questions we'll consider is what additional costs go into buying and maintaining a car? What is the significance of a down payment? And how about you compare various loan options?
Okay, I'm excited to learn about those. But I do know that we had some concept development that we did over the last couple of weeks that's very helpful. In fact, the first week we looking at the water tank problem, we came away with an equation the second week that was like y equals a times b to the x power, in which case that was an exponential function. That function is the foundation of everything that we're doing for the series. So that equation for the savings plan, sum of a finite geometric series, is in that first column. The second column, we looked at the savings plan, is almost the same thing. We're just calling it a future annuity problem, in which case we now can explicitly see the present annuity, the interest, and the period. We're definitely set up for this week's car and next week's house problem, in which case we're solving for the present value annuity function to look for our reoccurring payment. All right, Ms. Green, are you ready for the problem?
Yeah.
Well, before you get there, I do want to make sure that people know we did a lot of research already on these cars, but there's so much more that we can do. Y'all ready to find out what car we already decided we want to buy? Let's check it out.
So we got an Infinity here, 28,000. That's a little too much. Okay. I see the Benz, but I got my eye on this Honda over here. Okay. Yes. Stop faking like you don't got money to blow. This is the one. This is the one. This is the one. All right, so I think I see the car I want, but I'm looking for something a little bit more affordable, Miss Green. So 20,000. Right here, $17,275. This mine right here. Sounds like a deal.
I can't wait till social distancing is up so that we can make sure that we can get these cars and test them out on the road. First, let's go into some math that it takes to see if we actually can afford these cars. You ready, Ms. Green?
Absolutely. But before we get into the math part, let's go over today's two-piece. Did you know that certain factors can actually impact the car buying experience? For example, how have some car dealerships used car sales and financing to treat people of color differently during the car buying experience? And what role might demographics play when seeking car insurance? Definitely things to consider.
Wow, those are some good questions. Let's look at the problem.
So today we're going to assume that sales tax is 6% of the selling price and estimated fees are 2% of the selling price. And if you put down a $1,000 down payment on the car, we're going to calculate how much money we need to borrow to pay for the car, taxes and fees. And then we're going to calculate the monthly payment for the different loan options at 2%, 3%, and 5% interest, with my personal goal of not exceeding $500 a month.
Wow, it can get messy, but I know you're going to do it with pencil and paper. Let me get you the dot cam.
Perfect. So I already researched my dream car and realized that it has a selling price of $21,614. I'm going to consider the present value of annuity formula as we move through today's problem. Let's annotate. When buying a car, you must pay sales tax and licensing and other fees. Assume that the sales tax is 6% of the selling price. So that means we are going to have to add 6% to the selling price, or of the selling price. An estimated license, title, and fees are 2% of the selling price. So I have to add 2% of the selling price to the top. And then if I put down a $1,000 down payment on the car, so that value I get to subtract from the total. How much money do you need to borrow to pay for the car, taxes, and other fees? So how much money do you need? So that's where we're going to find the value. And we're borrowing this money, so that's going to come through the form of a loan. Let's formulate an equation that represents this verbal description. I know that I'm looking for the total amount of borrowed money. And that's going to equal the selling price of the vehicle along with the taxes and the fees, and then I get to subtract the down payment that I've made on the car. So, all of that said, let's compute using these values. I know that the loan amount that I will need is the selling price of $21,614 plus the 6% taxes of that selling price plus the 2% fees of that selling price minus the $1,000 down payment. And when I combine these values, I come to the conclusion that my interpretation is that I'll need to borrow $22,343.12. So that's going to allow me to move to the next part of this problem. We're going to use the loan amount computed above. So that loan amount was $22,343.12 to calculate the monthly payment. So I'm going to find the value of R, which is our monthly payment for the different loan options shown below. So we've already established that the present value of annuity formula is here. I'm going to use loan 1 to demonstrate this, what we're going to pay monthly. So I know that the the present value of annuity is $22,343.12. So that's how much I need for my loan. And I know that this loan has a period of 36 months at 2% interest per year. So the monthly interest is 2% over 12 months, which is about equal to 0.0017. And then I know that I'm looking for that monthly payment. So let's substitute those values to compute. I know that, again, the present value of annuity is $22,343.12. I'm looking for R, and then I'm going to substitute in the interest by saying that the common ratio is 1 plus the monthly interest of 0.0017. That's going to be raised to the negative period of 36 months. And that's all going to be over the monthly interest of 0.0017. I can figure out this value by using my scientific calculator here. So I'm just going to put all of this here. I have 1 minus 1.0017 raised to the negative 36 power, all divided by 0.0017, which is our monthly interest. So I get a total of 34.8918. It's an approximation. So when I divide 34.8918 on both sides, I get that R is about equal to $640.35. So I can make recurring monthly payments of $640.35. And then I also have the work to show that with loan 2 of 48 months over 3% per year, I would make payments of $494.55. And then for loan 3, which is 60 months at 5% per year, I would make monthly payments of $414.23. So, Ms. Kearney, which loan option do you think best fits my situation? And how would you verify?
Well, I think, Ms. Green, you actually could look at loan option 1 and just go ahead and dismiss it, simply because it goes over the $500 that you said you couldn't spend every month. Loan option 3 is at 5% for 5 years, and even though it seems like you're paying less for that period of time, you're actually going to be paying more interest, so your selling price is going up. And then you have the loan option 2 at 3% for 4 years, and that is within your budget. So I think that's the best option for your budget. In fact, I know that I checked this out by verifying your reoccurring payment, because you can substitute in the interest that you know, the period that you have, and the loan amount that you know you got to borrow, and just solve for the recurring payment. And then check for that by just going backwards, putting in everything that you know, I, N, and R, and then making sure it equals the actual loan that you borrowed. I use a loan calculator to check it out. I put all the taxes in on one line, the interest, and then your first loan payment for recurring payments per month came about $640. So I know you were right. Can I get more problems?
Yeah, so what you can do is visualize. Determine a car you'd like to purchase in the future, and if not, you can help someone else with this process. You're going to do some research by identifying the present cost of the car, and then you're going to use those math skills and realize by determining the amount of time your money needs to work in a savings account at a 3%, 4%, and 5% annual interest rate compounded monthly in order to purchase your car within the next 3 years at a 3% interest rate for at least 48 months.
Wow, that would have seemed heavy a long time ago, but this weekend challenge seems easy now. Can I still text you? Because I'm still waiting on that technology from the chancellor. I'm excited he's sending out high school, then middle school and elementary school. But is the number still 830-268-4310?
It is. So you can get those problems, the answer key, share your mindful minute, and even be considered student of the week.
Awesome. And shout out to Suzanne for being the student of the week for the savings plan problem. We know that you can find copies of this lesson translated to Spanish on the WTU website by Catherine Davila at Czech and Veronica Torres at Truesdale Education Campus. We're just going to come back so that we can say our final goodbyes. All right, so I'm Miss Kearney at Ron Brown.
And I'm Miss Green at Anacostia.
And we'll see you next week.